Hello everyone, and welcome or welcome back if it's not your first time here to the Library of Phoebe. I'm Phoebe, and today I wanted to give you a bookshelf tour, or a tour of every single book that I own. I thought it would be good to kind of like keep track for me for future years, and just to give you guys an idea of the things I have read and the things I haven't read, and what I am going to be reading soon, because I actually split my bookshelves up into books I've read and books I haven't read. So like there's separate TBR shelves, just because that's the way it works best with my brain. So I make sure I'm not forgetting about anything, and so I really know what I have read and can access it really quickly. I think as I go through today too, I am going to pull some books from the shelves that I want to put into my unhaul pile, which I have a little unhaul pile going on right now. Not very many, just like 3 books, but I'll show you those too. Without further ado, we can start with my big bookshelf. Well, I guess I have 2 big bookshelves, but this one's like the bigger of the big ones. We'll start here. I'm gonna hope my hands don't shake too much, and it'll be kind of a different angle that you guys don't normally see. Normally you see me in these videos, but now you'll just be seeing books. Can't complain. Up here I just have some decorations, some Legos, some fake flowers, some DVDs, and then we get into the books. Here I have my entire Little Black Classics collection. As you can see, there are some out in the front. Those are ones that have been on past TBRs but I haven't read yet. I won't go through every single one of these. I'll just tell you these here are the ones I have read and these are the ones I have not read. So as you can see, there's still quite a few to get through. And then I have these leather-bound classics, which are very beautiful. I have Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte, The Old Curiosity Shop by Charles Dickens, Dubliners and a Portrait of the Artist as a Young Man by James Joyce, Lady Chatterley's Lover by D.H. Lawrence, and Ivanhoe by Walter Scott. These aren't editions that I really read out of. So I will just tell you I have read Wuthering Heights, and then I have an edition of Dubliners that I want to read out of that's not this one, and then I have an edition of Lady Chatterley's Lover that I want to read out of that's not this one. So those are still to come. And just have some like fun little knickknacks, my bear, and this shot glass that has a camel on it. And then we can move down into books I have read. It's organized by author last name, so we'll start with the A's, which is got my Margaret Atwood, Testaments and The Handmaid's Tale, then Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, Sense and Sensibility by Jane Austen, the Beartown Trilogy by Frederick Bachman, Anxious People, A Man Called Ove, My Friends, all by Frederick Bachman, Ways of Seeing by John Berger, then we have The Atlas Six and the Atlas Paradox by Olivia Blake, Andromeda by Therese Bowman, which is actually one I'm going to pull to put in an unhaul pile. And then, okay, Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Then we have this little postcard of some art. It's a polar bear. And then we have my Burroughs collection that I have read. So The Yahe Letters, Queer and Junkie, Clytemnestra by Constanza Castadi, Albert Camus' The Plague, The Little Prince, Mural by Mahmoud Darwish, What Tech Calls Thinking by Adrian Daub. And then I'll move my little Rat King patch. I want to put that on a pair of my jeans because I have a big Rat King tattoo. And so I think it would be cute to have it out on my jeans too. Joan Didion, The Year of Magical Thinking, and Content by Kate Ekorn. And then a collection of Euripides plays. I have this bottle here and this little leather flask. On to the next shelf. My Elena Ferrante, I have The Neapolitan Quartet and The Lying Lives of Adults, The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, 2 copies of Coraline by Neil Gaiman, and then Choke Point Capitalism by Rebecca Gilbin and Cory Doctorow, Lord of the Flies by William Goulding. I actually haven't read that book. I just have 2 copies of it, and that's the copy I don't want to read out of, so it's on the shelves already. The Anthropocene Reviewed by John Green, The Scarlet Letter by Nathaniel Hawthorne, half of the Dune series, which I have read so far, so Dune, Dune Messiah, and Children of Dune, The End of History, The Iliad, You'll Get Through This Night, Letters to Milena by Franz Kafka, Dead Poets Society, I Hate the Internet by Jarrett Kobek, Babel by R.F. Kuang, then my two Madeline Millers, Song of Achilles and Circe, then Sula by Toni Morrison. And here we just have some dried flowers and this little conductor duck, which I love, so cute. All right, we have this little fake record player because I love music and records. And then we have Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami, Yevgeny Onegin by Alexander Pushkin, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, two Chuck Palahniuk's. We got Invisible Monsters and Fight Club. I actually don't like Invisible Monsters. Like, I would unhaul that book, but I wrote in it a bit, and I think I just want to have it on my shelves for, like, reference. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, which I actually kind of want to do a reread of very soon. Then we have Unmasking Autism by Devin Price, Microverses by Dylan Riley, Letters to a Young Poet by Rilke, and I actually think I want to reread that soon too. And then my four Sally Rooney's, Conversation with Friends, Normal People, Beautiful World, Where Are You, and Intermezzo. I might do a reread of some of these soon too. Oh my gosh, so much rereading that I want to do. Hera by Jennifer Saint. And then I have this little book holder opener thing. I don't actually know what it's called, but you can basically put your thumb in it to hold the book open easier. It's really cute. And then I have my Salinger collection. So here we have 4 of my 5 copies of The Catcher in the Rye. You'll see where the 5th one is later. 2 copies of Franny and Zoe, 2 copies of 9 Stories. And then Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I just recently read this one and I really liked it. Then we have 3 Shakespeares. We have Hamlet, Twelfth Night, and Macbeth. I have a lot more Shakespeares that I want to read, and there's some Shakespeares that I've read that I don't own too. Then we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, Just Kids by Patti Smith, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. I just finished this one. Such an amazing read. Read it if you haven't already. Oh my gosh. I feel like everyone's reading it right now. Don't let the hype deter you. Read it. And then we have The 12 Caesars by Suetonius. We have Lives of the Caesars by Suetonius. It's the same book. It's just 2 different translations of it. And then The Door by Magda Szabo. And then down again. Oh, I forgot to show you this little thing that holds my jewelry. You can kind of see. And then down one more. This is a candle that I never light in an old Pabst Blue Ribbon can, and I think it's so cute. Then we have my Tacitus. We have 2 copies of the Annals, 2 different translations. Then we have 2 copies of The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Then The Goldfinch, also by Donna Tartt. The Hobbit and the Fellowship of the Ring by J.A.R. Tolkien. Mark Twain, The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. I want to reread this one soon because I also just got a copy of Percival Everett's James, which is like a retelling-ish of Huckleberry Finn. So I'm interested in refreshing my knowledge of Huckleberry Finn since I haven't read it since I was really young. Then we have The Aeneid by Virgil, which actually I also haven't read, but I don't want to read from this copy of it, so that's also why it's on here. Then we have Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. The Best of Oscar Wilde. I'm actually going to take this off too because I want to unhaul this. I'm not sure, like, this might be controversial. I'm not sure if I am a huge fan of Oscar Wilde, guys. Don't kill me. But that being said, there's the picture of Dorian Gray. And I think I do want to reread this one day in the uncensored version. We'll see. I don't know. I just don't know if Wilde is for me. I want to read De Profundis, because that might be for me. But I don't know if his, like, fiction is for me. Stoner by John Williams. Great read. The Interestings by Meg Wollister. And then Madam by Phoebe Wynne. And, actually I might unhaul this one too. It was alright, but it was just alright, so I'm not sure if I want it on my shelves. I don't know. We'll take it off for now. Now, we can move on to some books that I haven't read. I've read one of the books in here. It's the Christmas books by Charles Dickens. I've read A Christmas Carol. I haven't read any of the others, so it doesn't really fit anywhere but, like, right here. So It's right here next to my other books I have read. Okay, right here we have Villette by Charlotte Bronte. Also, my TBR is not really super organized by author or anything, but Villette by Charlotte Bronte, It by Alexa Chung. I might unhaul this too. I just feel like I'm actually never gonna get to it because I don't actually care that much, so we'll just unhaul it. And then Politics by Aristotle, The Ides of March by Thornton Wilder, Ariel by Andre Moroz, Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh, First Love by Ivan Turgenev, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, Anne Frank's Diary, Daisy Miller and the Turn of the Screw by Henry James. Then we have some chunky ones down here, A Little Life and Demons by Dostoevsky. And then Dracula by Bram Stoker. Maybe that'll be one I finally read this fall. Moby Dick by Herman Melville. Who knows when I'll get to that one. The Letters of William Burroughs. Chess Story by Stefan Zweig. Troubles by J.G. Farrell. And The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. And Julia by Sandra Newman. And then over here is just some like textbooks and stuff that we do not need to get into. And then we can move on to my TBR cart. This fun little cart here. So right here is my monthly TBR, but right now there's only one book there because I think I've started all the other books on my started or finished all the other books on my July TBR. So this is just the one I haven't started that's on my July TBR, which is The Odyssey. And then we have my little prompt jar. I changed it, so now it's in a bigger container or taller container so you can actually see it. Then we have my most recent purchases is what's right here. So this is the most recent, this is the least recent. So Livy, The Rise of Rome, The Furies by Janet Hobhouse, Gore Capitalism, and then My Grandmother to Ask Me to Tell You She's Starry by Frederick Bachman, Plato's Phaedrus, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. There's the other edition of Lady Chatterley's Lover, the Vinland Sagas, some Roman history by Sallust, what is it, Catiline's War, some other ones, some more Plato, some more of Euripides' plays that I haven't read. Then we have Under the Volcano by Malcolm Lowry. This was in the movie adaptation, like Luca Guadagnino's movie adaptation of Queer by William Burroughs. So that's why I picked it up. I saw it and I was like, that was in Queer. I want to read it just because it was in Queer because I love that movie so much. And then there's James by Percival Everett, which I was just talking about. And then we move on to my seasonal TBR, like the things I still want to read in the summer. I probably won't get to all of these, and some of them might carry over into fall as well. We have Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe, The Edible Woman by Margaret Atwood, Emma by Jane Austen, Naked Lunch by William Burroughs, Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, some of Emily Dickinson's poetry, Great Expectations by Dickens. This is actually the copy of The Lord of Flies I do want to read by William Golding. I, Claudius by Robert Graves, Everything is Tuberculosis by John Green, some alternative cultural history of London, Ontario, Far from the Madding Crowd by Thomas Hardy, On the Road by Jack Kerouac, The 100 Years' War on Palestine, and Demon Copperhead. And then down here we have The Road by Cormac McCarthy, 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, as well as Memories of My Melancholy Whores by Garcia Marquez, and Beloved by Toni Morrison, Lolita by Nabokov, 1984 by George Orwell, and then we have The Satyricon and the Apocalypse. Guys, I apparently still have not learned how to say this. Some writing by Petronius and Seneca, Satyricon, and the Apocolocyntosis. I think that was right, actually. I think I kind of got that. I think I killed that. As You Like It by Shakespeare, Travels with Charlie in Search of America by John Steinbeck, Treasure Island by by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Little Friend by Donna Tartt, the only Donna Tartt I haven't read yet, actually. The Two Towers by J.R.R. Tolkien. We got some Voltaire, Candide or Optimism. T.H. White, The Goshawk I just found this at a thrift store one day, and it was an NYRB, so I was like, okay, I'll go for it. I think it's some nature writing, which is interesting. Then we have 3 Virginia Woolfs. I haven't read a single Virginia Woolf yet, and I have 3 that I want to read in the coming months. The Waves, which is not the one I'll start with. To the Lighthouse and Orlando. I'll probably start with To the Lighthouse or Orlando, just because Orlando really sounds like it appeals to me. And then we have some of William Wordsworth's poetry. There's 3 more on the back here, which are 2 Rachel Cusks, Arlington Park and Saving Agnes, and then Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro, and then Love in the Time of Cholera by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Here we are at my other shelf. I have 2 shelves of it are TBR, and the rest are ones I either have read or are in the middle of reading or are from the library. You'll see as we go along. Okay, so up here is the first of the unread shelves. So we have Passing by Nella Larson, Crime and Punishment by Fyodor Dostoevsky. That's what I really want to read this year. The Mysterious Affair at Styles by Agatha Christie. Pygmalion and Other Plays by George Bernard Shaw. The Enchanted April by Elizabeth Von Arnhem. And The Mayor of Castor Bridge by Thomas Hardy. A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. 2 other of the Dune books, which is Heretics of Dune and Chapter House Dune. That's the last 2. Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Paradise Lost by John Milton. Then we have 5 Shakespeares: The Tempest, The Merchant of Venice, Coriolanus, Measure for Measure, and King Lear. Coriolanus is just because of Coriolanus Snow. I hope you guys know. That's the only reason it's one of the Shakespeares I want to read soon. And then down here, oh, and look up here. This is a little light. It turns on. I won't turn it on now, but it turns on to be a little light. Here is a bottle that I'm going to fill with sea glass. So far there's only one piece in it, so it looks a little pathetic, but don't judge too hard. And then we have my Penguin Deluxe Classics. So Anna Karenina by Tolstoy, The Custom of the Country by Edith Wharton, Dubliners by James Joyce, Metamorphosis and Other Stories by Franz Kafka, The New York Trilogy by Paul Auster, Middlemarch, George Eliot, Histories by Herodotus, some of the short novels of John Steinbeck. I've already read, I think 3 of those. I think there's 3 left. Or maybe I've read 4. Let me check. So I've read The Moon is Down, The Red Pony of Mice and Men, and The Pearl. Okay, yeah. So I only have Tortilla Flat and Cannery Row left in there. Then we move on to my other penguins. We have the Bible, then Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad, Hard Times by Charles Dickens, The Call of the Wild by Jack London, the 1818 text of Frankenstein, which I also hope to read very soon, because I am writing a book and it's partially inspired by Frankenstein. So yes, I want to reread Frankenstein very soon when I go visit the place my novel is set at the end of July. Then we have Charlotte Perkins Gilman, Herland, The Yellow Wallpaper, and Selected Writings. I already have The Yellow Wallpaper in another edition, the Little Black Classics, but I don't have Herland, and that's one I want to read still. And then we have Wide Sargasso Sea by Jean Rees. And then we have this little mushroom jar, which used to hold my prompts, and then 2 candles, and just some little things. And including this zine. This is a zine called Cartoon Dialectics. So, interested in reading that soon too. And then we can move on to my library books and a few of the books I'm in the middle of. So, 3 library books right now. These Violent Delights, Nesting, and In the Dream House. And then we have The God Emperor of Dune by Frank Herbert, which I'm in the middle of, but I will probably need to restart if I want to continue reading it because it's been a while. Then Italian Folktales by Italo Calvino and Capital by Karl Marx. And then we have this little salt lamp. And we move on to books that I have read. And these are mostly YA books that I have read, or even middle grade. So we have my entire Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. And down here we have some of my John Greens, my fiction John Greens. So we have Paper Towns, Looking for Alaska, and An Abundance of Catherines. And actually, I think I'm gonna get rid of Paper Towns and An Abundance of Catherines. Just because, I don't know, both of those were not my favorite John Greens. Looking for Alaska, I actually enjoyed. I think I gave it like 4 stars. So I'll keep that one. We have my Twilight, so Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, Breaking Dawn, Midnight Sun, the official illustrated guide, Life and Death, the 2 volumes that are backwards right now of the graphic novel, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner, and the Director's Notebook. I haven't actually fully read the official illustrated guide or the Director's Notebook, but they're here because they're not really on my TBR. I have them more to like complete my collection. And then we have Anne of Green Gables. So 1 through 4, which are the ones I own and have read. I don't own any more of them, but I've halfway read the 5th one. I'll just buy that one probably when I'm already done it on audiobook. But it's Anne of Green Gables, Anne of Avonlea, Anne of the Island, and Anne of Windy Poplars. Here we have the Heartstopper, all the Heartstopper volumes that are out. I've read them all and I love them. So 1 through 5. And then we have my Percy Jackson. We have the first full series, Percy Jackson and the Olympians. And then we have the Chalice of the Gods and the Wrath of the Triple Goddess. Then we have the Heroes of Olympus series and the Sun and the Star. All of these are by Rick Riordan, by the way. And then down here, you can kind of see the Hidden series by an author we do not name, but the series holds a lot of nostalgic value for me. But I don't support her. I don't really make it known that I read, or that I have read and enjoyed at one point in my life that series. Not even gonna name it. Here are some books that I want to unhaul into Free Little Libraries because I got them out of Free Little Libraries. So we have Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine, which I enjoyed. I just don't need to keep it. The Moonstone by Wilkie Collins, which I haven't read and I won't read out of this edition. When I want to read it, I can get a different edition of it. And City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, just because, like, if I'm going to read that, it'll probably also be on audio. So I feel like I don't need the edition of it. I'll just unhaul all of these into Free Little Libraries. There is one last place in my house that I have my books, and that is 3 current reads on my bedside table. So the first is one that I started just this morning, and that is No Great Mischief by Alistair MacLeod. Then we have The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. This is where my other copy of The Catcher in the Rye is, the 5th one. I'm just a little bit through a reread of it. And then we have Devotions by Mary Oliver, so some of her selected poems. And that is all the books I own. Thank you so much for watching my entire book collection. I hope you saw some things that interest you. And yeah, if you want to leave a comment of any of the books that I haven't read that I definitely should read, or if you have any of these books and you haven't read them and I have and you want to hear a little bit about them, let me know and I can tell you. Make sure to like this video and subscribe for more, because of course you want more. And I'll see you next time on the Library of Phoebe. Thank you so much for watching.